in the cold, calculated reality of the Matrix. Appearance is almost always a carefully constructed lie, and the loudest signals of human nature are often sent by those who remain the most silent. Most men are easily distracted by the siren, the woman who dresses to be seen, who speaks to be heard, and who uses her social charisma to command attention. But they completely overlook the hidden volcano, the quiet, reserved, and often overlooked woman who carries a psychological fire so intense it would incinerate the soul of an average man. Today, we are entering the deepest, darkest layers of the female shadow, to decode the 7 forbidden signs of a woman whose libido is locked behind a massive wall of social discipline, waiting for the right architect to tear it down. According to the profound and hidden research of Carl Jung, the more a person suppresses their shadow in public, the more raw, primal, and explosive that shadow becomes in the dark. A woman who presents a perfectly calm, controlled, and even cold exterior to the world is almost always compensating for an internal world that is vibrating with a primal, unspeakable hunger. She is not quiet because she has nothing to say. She is quiet because she is guarding a secret that she knows most men are too weak to handle. The first sign of this hidden volcano is what we call the micro-fixation of the eyes. When you speak to a quiet woman with a high libido, she will not give you the fleeting, flirtatious glances of a beginner. Instead, she will lock onto you with a gaze that feels heavy, almost predatory, while her face remains completely still. This is visual tunneling, a sign that her subconscious has already selected you as a target, and she is mentally processing the entire encounter before a single word is even spoken. She is watching the movement of your mouth, the weight of your hands, and the rhythm of your breath, with the surgical precision of a hunter, all while maintaining the socially acceptable mask of a polite stranger. If you look closely, you will see that her pupils are slightly dilated even in a bright room, a sign that her nervous system is already in a state of high arousal. The second sign is the controlled tension of the throat. Watch her when she thinks the world isn't looking. If she is constantly swallowing, or if the muscles in her neck are visibly tight even when she is sitting perfectly still, it is a sign of extreme physical suppression. Her body is reacting to your masculine presence on a cellular level, and she is using every ounce of her social willpower to keep her breathing steady. She is literally choking on her own desire, because her social ego is terrified of the shadow that is trying to claw its way out of her chest. This tension is the pressure of the volcano, building up behind a thin crust of etiquette. Then, we must analyze the rhythmic tapping. A quiet woman with a high libido will often have a repetitive, unconscious movement. Perhaps she taps her pen, shifts her weight in a rhythmic way, or subtly kicks her foot. This is pacing, a biological leakage of the sexual energy that she cannot fully contain within her frame. It is like a ticking time bomb, a rhythmic countdown to the moment when her discipline finally breaks, and the volcano erupts with a force that defies logic. The fourth sign is the sudden shift in frequency. If you manage to get her alone, even for a moment, and her voice suddenly drops by several octaves, becoming low, husky, and resonant, you have just heard the true voice of her anima, the primal female soul. In public, her voice is a tool for the Matrix, high-pitched and compliant, but in private, it becomes a vibration of the earth itself. This shift in tone is a biological welcome mat, a sign that she is inviting you to bypass her logic and speak directly to her instincts. The fifth secret lies in the hyper-awareness of touch. If you accidentally brush against her arm, and she doesn't flinch, she doesn't pull away, and she doesn't make a nervous joke, but instead, she becomes perfectly still, almost like a statue. She is experiencing a sensory spike. Most women will move away to maintain their social distance, but the hidden volcano will absorb the touch. She will hold that microsecond of contact in her nervous system, and you will feel the heat radiating off her skin like a furnace. She is memorizing your vibration, and her shadow is already imagining the next 1,000 touches in the dark. The sixth sign is the dark vocabulary. Listen very carefully to the words she uses when she finally does speak. A quiet woman with a high libido will often use intense, visceral, or even violent metaphors. She doesn't talk about liking things. She talks about craving, being consumed, or feeling overwhelmed. Her language reveals the violence of her inner desire, a hunger that is not satisfied by nice things or polite conversation, but only by total integration and raw dominance. Finally, we look at the mirroring of the frame. If she begins to match your posture, your breathing, and your intensity without saying a single word, she has entered a state of psychological submission. She has stopped fighting the volcano, and she is now waiting for you to lead her into the final eruption. Carl Jung believed that the quiet ones are the most dangerous and the most rewarding because they have the most to lose, and therefore they have the most to give when the mask finally falls. When you are with her, you are not just meeting a woman, you are meeting a force of nature that has been suppressed for years. And if your masculine frame is not strong enough to contain the lava, you will be destroyed by the intensity. But if you are the architect, if you know how to read these 7 hidden codes, you will realize that the quietest woman in the room is the one who will give you the most insane experience of your life. Because her desire has been aging in the dark, becoming more concentrated, more potent, and more explosive with every passing second. She is the hidden prize of the Matrix, the one that the nice guys never see and the alpha always claims, because he knows that the deepest water is always the hottest, and the most silent woman is always the loudest when the lights go out. You must understand that her silence is a wall, and that wall is only meant to keep the weak men out. Once you prove that you are strong enough to climb that wall, the volcano is yours to command. The heat is yours to feel, and the shadow is yours to own. The Matrix is full of loud distractions, but the real power is always found in the quiet corners, where the volcano waits for the architect to arrive and set the fire free. The code is broken, the volcano is open, and the night, as always, belongs to those who see the truth.